On behalf of Rachel Barry and myself, we welcome you tonight to the second annual award ceremony. Just a brief note regarding the raffle baskets this year. We will be announcing the numbers of the winner pretty quickly at the end of the evening, and your ticket has the matching number, and there will be a poster board outside with its matching number. You can bring your ticket to one of the staff who's working the event tonight, and then they'll give you the basket before you leave. So good luck to all of you who participated in the raffle, and we appreciate it. The money goes all back to the boys each year. Second thing, coaches, before you leave tonight, we know we didn't do this right last year, but we corrected ourselves. We have the t-shirts for your teams, so at the end of the night, please come to us. They are in bags with the names of your players who paid. So if you didn't pay for your shirt tonight, or if you didn't pre-register, let us know, and you can get a shirt at a later time. And then a special thanks to the East Meadow High School, the custodial staff, for allowing us to make tonight possible. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to invite Alex Edelman and Mike Halkitis, two members of the East Meadow volleyball team, to lead us in our national anthem. On their behalf, since they don't want to use the microphone, please rise.
Good evening, everyone. It's a privilege to stand before you again as your co-host of this evening's second annual Nassau County Boys Volleyball Award Celebration. Tonight, we honor you, the athletes that have worked tirelessly for more than 3 months, the coaches that have committed themselves to you, and the teams that have dedicated many hours and days for the sake of competition and a hopeful shot at the playoffs. We all know the crushing heartache that comes with defeat and the feeling of excitement that comes with victory. But I truly believe that volleyball is more than just about the wins and losses. This quote, "One team, one heart," has become prominent in the last few years. For many of us, athletes and coaches alike, we know that being part of a team is more than just putting on a uniform, coming to practice, and winning games. There is a fine line between family and team, and if you're lucky enough, those lines can blur. And when those bonds created between teammates, coaches, and families come together as one, truly you can consider yourself blessed. So tonight, regardless of the outcome of our season, we thank you for the hard work that you've done throughout this entire season. And now I welcome our guest speaker of the evening, backed by popular demand, our all-in motivational speaker, John Paul Gonzalez.
It's a huge pleasure, honor to be back again. Some things have changed since last time, since So last time I was here, as you guys knew, quick recap of the story for those who don't know me. I had the opportunity about 3 years ago. I got a phone call, was not expecting, from the New York Giants. They asked me to speak to their team the night before Christmas Eve. Before we go any further, are there any Giants fans here? Well, to be fair, I know we live in a two-team city. Any Jets fans? Awesome. Hey, that's awesome. If you want to root for a 2-16, that is up to you. That's cool. Hey, maybe next year. Hey, it's all right. Like I said, I got a phone call from the New York Giants the night before Christmas Eve about 3 years ago, and I was not expecting the phone call. Got the phone call and said, "Mr. Gonzalez, would you mind speaking to the team?" I didn't know why they had called me at first, but as things transpired, I went and spoke to the team. I was very nervous speaking to the team, but I gave them 2 words that night. 2 words were all in, and I walked out of that locker room, and like I mentioned before, when I walked out of the locker room, I thought I blew it. You know, I thought, why would they even listen to me? Because honestly, my full-time job, I'm a 9th grade world history teacher, not a professional football player. Crazy course of events though, they took that all-in phrase and they took it all the way to the Super Bowl that year. They went on to beat the New England Patriots, and before I know it, they invite me to their parade, and they're wearing t-shirts that say all in all over New York City for the victory parade. And then Fox News hears about it, so I go on that program, and then CNN, and then ESPN, and then TED Talks hears about it. And before I know it, I'm flying to places like Dubai, speaking for corporations in Hong Kong and in Beijing. And now, before this started training camp, they called me again and said, "Would you want a full-time working with the team?" I said, "I'm a teacher, and that's what I love doing first and foremost, being a public school educator." And they said, "No, that's right, we'll work around your schedule. You know, if you could just speak to the team the night before the game, and we'll fly you back in time for school the next day." So I traveled with the team, was over with the team in London a couple of weeks ago, and I speak to the team the night before they play. Not that it works all the time, but it's been pretty good this year. It's a tremendous honor and privilege to do that. And so that's one of the main things that's changed, getting to be on the sidelines with, you know, Odell and Eli. It's kind of cool. But you know, since this whole all-in thing kind of happened, I guess, I started having the privilege of getting to go back to corporations or schools or teams multiple times. Not just the Giants. I've done some work with an Arsenal football club over in London, as well as a team in Spain called Barcelona. And I started noticing a couple of things. See, all in is about commitment. But the sad thing is, sometimes we don't stay committed to something when we fail. We have this adverse reaction when it comes to failure. Now see, probably not you guys, because the sport you play, volleyball, is basically based around errors. Not that you guys have a lot of errors, but you only score when someone screws up, all right? That's the only way you can score. It's not like basketball. Basketball is my sport. Like, you know my story. I played for the LA Clippers. If I went 10 for 10, that was on me. The defender couldn't do anything about it. If I was perfect from the free throw line, they just had to watch me score. But in volleyball, you only score when someone messes up. You only score when you don't get the dig right, when you hit it a little too far. See, making an error for you is, well, you have a little more resilience towards that. But I personally believe the problem with most of our society is we're not resilient towards that. We screw up and we give up. Just that simple. And as I started going back to some of these teams and some of these corporations, and I'd say, "Hey, I spoke 6 months ago." When I went back and I spoke in Kuala Lumpur, I said, "Hey, you guys are still all in?" And they said, "Sort of, kind of." And so I started seeing that when we fail, we give up way too easily. I'm not going to stand here and say I was perfect, because I wasn't. See, my dad was a cornerback for the Oakland Raiders, so I thought I was going to play football like my dad growing up. That was my dreams, to play football like him. No, I wanted to do everything he did. I didn't want to play cornerback. My dream was to be the next Dan Marino of the Miami Dolphins. That was my dream. You know, Hispanic version, but Dan Marino nonetheless. You know, plans change, things change, and you come home and you get injured a lot. You get a concussion, your mom says, "No more football in the house." And your dreams shatter. And I actually got really depressed, to be honest. Some people diagnosed as being suicidal. See, I wanted to make my dad proud so bad. But see, it was actually my grandfather who actually helped me become the man I am today in a dramatic way. See, on my 15th birthday, and it was also the same year I found out I wasn't allowed to play football any longer, he gave me a present. He took me to the New York City Aquarium. Now, one thing about my grandfather is he doesn't do things, he didn't do things very, very normally. He always had a little weird twist, a lesson he wanted to teach. And on my 15th birthday, he takes me to the New York City Aquarium. I mean, he himself, he came from Havana, Cuba. He was a police officer in Havana, Cuba, very proud of his job. He rode this Harley Davidson. He was about 6'7", 250 pounds, big guy. He said Cuba wasn't perfect, but he loved serving his town. He loved serving his town until an individual came into Cuba with a regime change. Many of you who study history know everything changed once Fidel Castro walked to Cuba. He was brought in a room much like this one. Many of the leaders from the town were brought there too of Havana, colonels from the army, mayors. And he said, "You're either with me or you're against me." He said, "I didn't believe in Castro's regime, so I handed my resignation papers. Unfortunately, it was not accepted, and I was put into political prison for 12 years. So he never wanted to go to prison, but he said prisons were much different than they were in the United States. See, prison in the United States, you have 10 feet by 8 feet, you might have a toilet in the back. But he said in Cuba, he was put in a cell that was 3 feet by 3 feet. He had to lean up against the wall 22 hours a day. He said there's a small hole in the bottom of the door, and that's where the food was put in. But the problem is, in his cell, there was no toilet. So when you had to go, you just went on yourself. I know that imagery can be slightly disturbing, but it's the truth. He said some days he didn't want to eat because it smelled and it tasted so bad when waste mixed with your food, but you just eat anyway to survive. He said he wasn't perfect, but he didn't break. See, that was the goal, was to break the leaders of Havana. And 12 years later, him and his family were put on a plane, one of the last planes to go to the United States. And as he took me to the New York City Aquarium on my 15th birthday, I remember we were sitting at the aquarium. He took me to a particular part of the New York City Aquarium right there over by Coney Island. We were watching the Shark Tank. It's not too exciting, it wasn't feeding time. We were sitting there, 5 minutes go by, 10 minutes, 15 minutes go by, and I get up because I'm pretty bored, and he says, "No, siéntate." Sit. I sit down again, and then he begins to talk, and he says, "Do you know that the shark is the #1 predator in the ocean?" I said, "Yes, I kind of read that on the plaque on the tank about 10 minutes ago." And he said, "Yeah, but some people believe they're not built to be." I said, "What are you talking about? They're huge, they have these big teeth. It's easy to be #1 when you have all that going for you." He said, "Well, not really. See, the shark's #1 weapon it loses every single day." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, its teeth. The teeth of a shark, they actually fall out of its mouth. They're not held in by roots like our teeth are. They're held in by cartilage like your nose and your ears. And every time a shark bites something, its teeth can fall out." He said some sharks have many rows of teeth. And he said that's why they're #1, not because they're perfect, not because they always bite the right thing, because they never stop biting. And he turned and looked at me and said, "I knew you were going through a tough time. Your mom told me. Why don't you take up a new sport like basketball? But just to be honest, when you start that sport, you're going to be pretty bad at it. Just because you miss your first shot doesn't mean you walk out of practice. You're going to get another time to shoot, just like a shark gets another tooth. Because see, sharks have 5 to 7 rows of teeth. Some sharks have 50 rows of teeth. And every time they lose a tooth, the one in the next row replaces it within 24 hours. He said, in this life, John Paul, you need to be a shark. Not just with your sports, but in school and as a man. He said, in prison, I saw way too many leaders of our country, Cuba. They made some mistakes. And instead of being who they were born to be, which was great, they settled for being average. He said, in a way you could say they settled for being tuna fish when they were born to be sharks. Unfortunately, he passed away about 2 months later from complications of diabetes. But I've never forgotten those words. I've never forgotten. I need to be a shark. despite my mess-ups, despite my mistakes, despite my screw-ups, I don't want to settle. I want to challenge you guys tonight. This is an amazing event. You guys are to be honored. You guys are to be applauded. We're going to do that. But you play a game that is, like we said, based on errors, which means more than anybody else, you guys should have a bit of a resiliency towards it, but please don't just do it on the court. Please take it into your personal lives as well. Please be exactly that in your classrooms, with your families, for our cities. See, where I'm from, to be honest, in my city, we have way too many Dolphins. No offense to Dolphins, like I said, I'm actually a Miami Dolphins fan, except Giants first, of course. But too many guys who have settled because of mistakes in their past. Too many guys who thought their mistakes had to add up to them being who they are today. They stopped trying. They stopped fighting for things. And working with the Arsenal Football Club in London, they have a manager there who's probably one of the most regarded managers in all of football. I say football, I mean soccer. His name is Arsene Wenger. And he said something when I was over there that really got me. I asked the question, well, what is the most precious aspect of being a great coach or being a great footballer? He said, I mean, what do you need for success? I said, yeah. Is it skill? Is it wisdom? He said, you need tenacity. He said, tenacity is getting from point A to point B without a lack of enthusiasm, despite many failures along the way. He's right. He said, that is success. See, when I work with the Giants, a lot of people think about the Super Bowl, they think fondly about it, but they often forget that our quarterback, Eli, the year before they won the Super Bowl in 2012, he almost led the league in interceptions. But in 2012, he was a Super Bowl MVP. And I remember asking him, saying, how do you go from being the leader of the league in interceptions to Super Bowl MVP in 1 year? I remember him saying, for me, it wasn't my mechanics, it was mental. I had to realize just because I had a bad first down doesn't mean my second down has to be worse. Just because I play a bad game, it doesn't make me a bad player. I get another opportunity next Sunday. It's a mentality. When I spoke for Walmart for their shareholders meeting down in Arkansas, there was a guy in the green room who was speaking after me. We had a short conversation. You probably know him. His name is David John. He's on the show called The Shark Tank. You may have seen it on TV. And I remember saying, hey, I love the show, love to watch it, it's great. And he asked me, do you know why we call it The Shark Tank? I said, yeah, because you guys are mean. Like, if someone comes in, they don't know their stuff, you guys rip them apart. He said, no. See, you only see the successful people half the time. We only do an update on the things that are working out. He said, one of the reasons we call it Shark Tank is because we believe the next person through that door can be a millionaire just like us sitting there. We believe it that much, we're willing to invest our money. He's like, and you don't see it, but a lot of our investments, they fail. But if you're really a shark, you know you get another tooth or opportunity. And it's just maybe even 24 hours away. See, when I went and told this story down in Florida about my grandfather, I didn't know, but there was a marine biologist in the audience. He comes up to me afterwards and he said, Mr. Gonzalez, can I have your address? A little leery, so I gave him a P.O. box, but just in case, you know. But about 2 weeks later, I get a package. I remember it was quite large, and I opened up the package, and in the package is 20,000 shark teeth. And there's a note on it that says, well, you didn't know this, but I'm a marine biologist. I actually study sharks. I collected these from all over the world, shark-infested waters, on beaches. I figured you'd know what to do with these better than I would. Last year I gave you guys a parachute. Practice gratitude. Not to forget the reason that you're here in this room. I like giving stuff out, I don't know. In the back when you leave, brought a little present for you guys. And yeah, the shark tooth. I will say two things about this. I did clean them with soap and water, but don't put them in your mouth. standard. And secondly, when you do your tooth, I don't give these out often, but I gave them out to a wonderful group of students at a camp one time. One was very excited, so they actually made a necklace out of it to not forget who he was, a shark. But he forgot to take it off before he went and played basketball, and unfortunately, the tooth got impaled in his chest. It didn't kill him. It's not that long. It can't reach your heart, but it looked really painful when the nurse was taking out with pliers. So I'd just say, if you're going to make a necklace out of it, please take it off before your matches. I don't want you going up to the trainer being like, all in, guy, oh, no. I will not take responsibility for that. No. But as I close, I'd love for you guys to take a tooth. Put it someplace you see it every single day. When you see it, don't forget who you were born to be. See, I'll be honest, I don't believe any of us in this room were born to be average. I don't believe any of you were born to be tuna fish or even dolphins. I believe you were born to be a shark. Because you were born to be a shark, that means, and I had enough, especially for all my student athletes in the room, I want you to take 2 teeth. See, it's great you know you're a shark. Congratulations. You're getting an award up here that says you're even better, and that's great. But see, a real leader knows he's only as great as the people who follow him. Because if you think you're leading, or you're a captain just because you have a C on your chest, and you turn around and no one's following you, you're not leading, you're just going for a walk. I want you to take 2 teeth. One for you, and the second one, I'm pretty sure you know somebody in your life that doesn't believe they can be a shark anymore. I'm pretty sure you know someone, maybe they're on your team, maybe they're in your class, maybe they're in your own family, that think they're the sum total of their mistakes and their screw-ups, and they always just go halfway. See, maybe you see them in practice and they just do the minimum. Or in class, they want to get by with C's. Or maybe they're trying their hardest, but it just seems like everything's always against them and they want to give up. You're taking 2 teeth, one for you, one for them. Because maybe they need someone to believe in them the way someone decided to believe in you. See, your coaches decided to believe that you could be a shark. That's why they put you on the team. That's why maybe they gave you certain positions. That's why maybe you're in this room right now, because someone believed in you that much. Maybe it was your mom, maybe it was your dad. I don't know who it was. But someone believed in you before you started believing in yourself. Like I said, specifically to my student athletes, I want you to take 2. And you start treating that person as if they're a shark, way before you even see it. Maybe that means you practice with them extra on the side, you help them with tutoring. Like I said, maybe it's just someone in your own family. Maybe you got a little brother or a little sister or older brother or older sister. Maybe you just start texting them, even if they're at college, saying, hey, thinking about you, have a great day. Maybe you have a mom or dad at home, guys. They're busting their butt to do the best they can for you, but they feel like they're not providing enough. They're not the mom or dad that they want to be for you. Maybe you take a tooth for them, to give them some encouragement because they need it. I don't know who the second tooth goes to, but you do. I want to challenge you guys. 1, be a shark. Stop hanging around with dolphins and tuna fish and being average. Be a shark. Yeah, you're going to screw up. Yeah, you're going to make mistakes. You know in your game you see it all the time, but it's not the end of the match just because you make a couple of errors. The game goes to 25, right? Maybe longer. Take it off the court too. Don't just take 1 tooth. Take 2. And make sure you give that person the tooth. Give it to them before Christmas. Don't just give them something. Do all your actions first, and then give it to them. Because we all know your actions speak louder than your words ever will. It's my hope, guys, that we can have a whole lot more sharks in our country and less tuna fish. God bless you guys. Thank you for your time.
Not an easy thing to follow up. All right, the cool part is I have exciting news for you. Those of you that received awards from Nassau County this year are now going to be honored in front of all of your friends, family, and teammates, your coaches, the officials, and any other visitors and guests that you had today. Before we begin, anybody that gets called up, okay, I'm going to apologize beforehand. If your name is pronounced wrong, shout it out. I'll try to say it again. Come on up this way. You're going to call up the stairs. You'll receive your award right behind me. You can exit the staircase or step right down on the risers. That is fine. Okay, you're going to line up as close as we can. Okay, we're going to get a picture of everybody in that award category. After that picture is taken, you can take your seat again, and we'll proceed to the next award. Okay, first up from A1, from East Meadow, Tom Botman, and all division. A1, all division, from East Meadow, Alex Edelman. From A2, all division, from Farmingdale, Dylan Salidi.